All right, we're back. Look, we're continuing this topic, and we've been talking off camera, and it's so good we got to record it. I think it is anyway. So hopefully we can capture that and we don't lose it and try and change it because we know the camera's on. Well, like we were just saying that, you know, Dan's 29 now, right? 29?
29.
And, you know, he wants to compete, but he wants to have his body right first. And he was commenting that he had to be brutally honest with himself and admit to himself that if he's not going to get those meals in, if he's not going to eat 4 or 5 solid meals every single day and food prep this shit and eat them when he's supposed to eat them, then how's he ever going to do a show and really, really try and really do his best and be his best? How's he going to do a pre-contest diet and do everything when he's supposed to be able to do it?
Real quick, I don't know if you guys know, but like I've talked to a lot of guys, a lot of people have done shows, and if that's your the show prep, the actual prep, the diet for the prep is worse than anything diet you're ever going to that I've heard of anyway. So that's what I told him. I was like, if I can't even do 3 to 5 meals, how am I ever going to do a show prep? And it's like, Dan, you're not. Like, don't bullshit yourself. You're not going to do it.
Right.
So small steps. And that's why, and I really, like I said to him, it's been about 6 months since I've been really going on with my food. I've definitely cheated here and there, but I'm actually definitely way more in depth in my meal prepping than anything I've ever been before. And I've noticed tons of differences. And that's that's why I want to get that down first. And once I get that more down and fixated first, where I'm like, okay, then I feel like, I'm not saying show prep will be that much easier, but I believe it will. Okay, I know more about the meals. I just believe if you go in. Like, if I went in naive about it, like, yeah, you know what, let's go do a show, and the next thing you know, I get this, I eat 3 to 5 meals every day, that were great meals every day for over a year yet, you know what I mean? So it's like, how am I ever going to be like, oh, you know what, okay, let's go do a show, and I'm just going to stick to the show prep diet. No, that's
he said his next phase is he's going to move into some cardio.
Yes.
He's going to get into some cardio and see what that does for him, take him to a different level, change his physique completely, and see what he looks like that way. He's bigger. I mean, he's clearly bigger. Just in the past couple of weeks, you're bigger, dude. Just in the past,
I believe that.
Since we did the video, you're bigger. The last video.
It's 230.
But we were saying how, like, I started out, I was 2 years younger than him only, and I was only 150 pounds. When I was 27, I was only like $150.
It's insane.
And he was commenting that, you know, nowadays, when you look back at that, if somebody came along at 150 pounds today, 27 years old, said, hey, I want to be a 280-pound bodybuilder, I want to compete in 250s, you know, keep it real. You would look at him like, this guy's fucking nuts.
And we're not, and that's what we're trying to tell you. Don't listen.
Yeah, don't listen to
those people.
No matter who says it, him, me, anybody.
Yeah, and you're gonna have people like that because I mean they don't, and sometimes you don't realize I guess a person's their desire. I mean, if you really desire, you're going to get it. You're going to do it. And so if somebody does say that to you that's advanced, they might not just see your desire, your actual passion. They might not, because they know what it takes.
Well, first, I would never say that to anybody.
Yeah. Neither would I. I would never cut anybody's dream in half.
But it's very easy for me to forget that I was 27 and 150 fucking pounds, but it's the truth.
And I just believe what I've noticed just in the industry of body and just everything that I pay attention to, that's what I said to him. And nowadays industries, the guys are a lot younger, a lot bigger nowadays at a younger age. It seems like. So it seems like if you would, and that's what I said to him. If you would have came up to like someone like that's his size now and was like, you know what, 27, 150 pounds, like by the time I'm 35, I want to be like 280. They'd laugh. They would, and it's not. I'm not saying it's right, but a lot of people would be like, bro, you're in the wrong sport. Like you should have started this when you're 20 years old, and by the time you're 27, you should already be pro, and maybe when you're 35, you can win even crazier. No, and that's what's so crazy. He did this at 27 at 150 pounds.
And
it goes to show him, don't stop.
From his perspective, that says to him that he's 2 years younger and already has this head start over what I had. So that encourages him that he can get to where he wants to go.
100%. And that's what I told him. It encourages me 100% even more to do it because I'm like, wow, that's somebody that was way smaller than me at 27. And he got the sizes he got to. The body's capable of doing anything he wants.
If the mind wants to go there, the body will follow. And from my perspective, your body's going to last you your whole life. You need that son of a bitch to be, to walk around in it the rest of your time on this planet. So and that was my perspective. I never sat out saying I'm going to be a pro bodybuilder. I'm going to step on a stage even. That wasn't my goal. So for me, it was just, it's not amazing that I built that physique in that amount of time from so small beginning because it took forever. It took all this life. It took almost 30 years. You know, because I just kept, every year I just got a little bit more, a little bit more. I just wasn't in a hurry. That's how I did it. I didn't have any expectation that, well, by next year I'll weigh this, and the year after that I'll weigh that. Never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind.
It's
just kept doing it. One thing led to the next.
It's crazy a lot of things he's saying, because it's like in my head, like, or what I want to say next, or around that, and he nails it. It's like we're in each other's heads right now, always. Because progression. I was just going to say progression. That's what it's all about. Like, you're not going to just blow up overnight. You might have great genetics. You might be able to do it in a couple of years, yes, if you have that great genetics. But usually it's a 8, 10, 12-year process. I'm only on year 4 and a half. I know, but I've seen myself progress so much that there's no stopping me, because I know that I can get. And then after hearing stuff like this and just obviously seeing other people, you can progress into so much more. Another thing is, same thing. I heard Phil Heath say this in a video, and Phil Heath said one time, he said, "Do you think?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "We eat 9,000 calories a day," but he's like, "I just didn't do that. I just didn't start doing that." He talked about progression. He's like, I didn't start just eating to get big. I just wasn't like, one day I'm just gonna. He said he couldn't. When he first started,
and it wouldn't be necessary.
Yeah.
As it becomes necessary, you're already elevated.
Yes.
You've progressed to that point.
Same, and almost the same thing with lifting heavier weights. I mean, there's guys that want to lift heavier, or like anything that's fine. But when I started, I lifted a little lighter and just did more of a pump. But now I'm actually coming in. There's weights that I never thought I could ever touch, and I'm actually starting to hit them now. And I'm getting impressed with myself, my own capabilities. So it's a lot of progression. It's like it's years. And so just don't ever beat yourself up about where you're at now. Always just look for the future and the progression of it.
And look, don't set yourself up for disappointment or burnout because you read some pro's diet and you're under the impression you're going to have to eat thousands and thousands and thousands of calories right now. Right now, if you're a 150-pound guy or whatever, you don't have to eat like that. You eat enough to get the scale start moving, start growing. And then as you gain that next 10 pounds, what took you to get to that 10 pounds now, that's maintenance. So now you have to eat for that next 10 pounds. So you're always eating for that next 10 pounds.
Yep.
But don't be in a rush. Don't place limitations on yourself. I will say this. If you're really serious, pick an amount of time. Pick a frame of time so you don't drive yourself nuts thinking you can do this with no stop and mark progress consistently. But if you say, okay, from now until the next 6 or 7 months, every 2 weeks I'm going to progress. Then take your pictures at 2 weeks intervals. But you have to really go balls to the wall, have everything in place, and really focus and do everything right. And is that the healthiest thing to do? It probably isn't, unless you have obsessive compulsive disorder or something. Otherwise, and you have to have that routine. Otherwise, it's probably not that healthy. So I would recommend to you, do it for a set amount of time in advance, and then every 2 weeks, picture. One from the front, one from the back, something that you can see what the fuck you're dealing with. Nobody else is going to have to see them. And lay them out there when you think you're not making progress. Lay them out there, because all kind of stuff's going to be changing from your back that you ain't going to be able to see. You see this shit all day long. You see that. People will notice it before you notice it because you're in here. You see it all the time, but you never see your back. When you lay these pictures out there, you'll be able to see it. So that's going to keep you motivated.
100%. And that's real quick. One of the motivation. You're hitting a goal. Once you hit a goal, I mean, it's momentum. It's almost momentum. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm hitting a goal, I'm hitting a goal. You want to keep hitting the goal. You're gonna set another one. Boom, you're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit it. So don't just use the momentum that's gonna keep pushing you forward of hitting the goals, and just don't stop. And you'll always make it.
And the other thing I would say is make sure you enjoy your workout. Make sure you're enjoying it. If it's a grind already and you're hating it, take a fucking break. It's not the end of the world. Muscle won't come off that quickly if it's really there. Now you see how much smaller I look right now? All that water's gone out of the muscle. All that water's gone. No carbs to put it back in. Watch how quick I blow right back up in the next few days, because now I've changed the diet back up, putting carbs there. Carbs have to be there to drive the water in the muscle. That's a whole other story. But it's no big deal. You won't really lose muscle that quickly. Take a break, get your head right. Only do it that you enjoy it. And life's too short to do something you don't enjoy.
I said it's crazy. He keeps saying everything he said. It's in my head. Positivity. That's what I was getting ready to say.
Positivity.
I was going to say next. If you're not, I've just noticed if you're not positive about the growth or the process in your life. If it's not bodybuilding, but if it is bodybuilding or getting bigger, then you can go to anything in your life.
Anything.
The more you're positive about it, the more it's going to happen. The more that you're like, oh no, it's not negative, or even if you're telling yourself like you didn't have a good workout, or like you're defeating yourself. You're telling yourself, but the more positive you are, and I had a lot of the coach and the people that have like sort of like mentored me a little bit about the sport, just in my time, they always said, look, when you're looking in the mirror, obviously look at yourself, but look at you. Imagine 10 more pounds on you. Imagine what you look like with 20 more pounds of muscle on. And then just start, because that's when, and then I started, and I would do that. There were times when I would do a motion, and I'm like, wow, I wonder what it looked like with my arms bigger. I wonder what it looked like, and then next thing you know, it happens. Or you keep going and it happens.
Now see, he's the young version. He's the hungry wolf. He's telling you what he's doing to get to the top of the mountain. I'm telling you from the old man's perspective, looking back on what I've done and how I reflect on it. And I'm going to tell you even this. If you don't feel like going to the gym one night, you want to spend time with your old lady, or you want to spend time with your fucking kids, how about that? Maybe you want to spend time with your children. Don't beat yourself up over it. You know what? God bless. Don't go to that gym. Gyms are the dirtiest, filthiest places you can go anyway. Everybody's rubbing their nuts and every other thing. Then they're picking up a dumbbell or a bar. Then you come along innocently enough and touch that shit behind them. Wash your hands in that fucking gym. But if you don't feel like going, don't fucking go. Don't beat yourself up over it. But you know what? If it becomes enough times that you don't feel like going, then you have to really confront yourself and say, does this make me happy or not? If there's no happiness in it, don't do it. Don't do it. As simple as that. You know less for it. Enjoy your life. That's more. Enjoy your life. But if you love it, do it. If you need a break, take a break. It's your life. Do what you want to do. If you've taken a long enough break and you want to get back up on the horse, don't beat yourself up because you ain't what you used to be. Don't beat yourself up because you gained a little body fat. You can't lift the weights you could lift last, a couple years ago, a few years back, or when you were young. Just go and do it if you want to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Ain't your thing but chicken wing, right?
That's so true.
That's all it is.
That's the truth. I've said that a lot of times.
And if it's a chicken wing, I'm going to eat that motherfucker, right? So just do it and enjoy your life. Don't make it a
No. Love it.
Take it to the level you want to take it to. Make the commitment you want to make, but be honest about it. That's all.
So we'd like to share this.
Yep. Have a good one.